your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just the
duo
of feathery brethren, weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo and Zach kicking it cooler than
two.
Penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping.
We are going to rip out the hearts of other podcasts. We are going to bite off their eyeballs. We're going to start every segment watching the scene from The Last of the Mohicans where the guy takes a bite out of the other guy's heart. We may not be good, but we're going to be nasty. We're going to reflect the blue-collar nature of this city. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a post-game Birds with Friends. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Morris, home in Cleveland. But we are here on the scene, as you can see on YouTube, in Glendale, Arizona, following the Eagles' 20-17 win over the Arizona Cardinals. Zach Berman, I feel like I learned this trip that I never eat cranberry juice or drink cranberry juice unless I'm at a hotel. I feel like a continental breakfast or something. I'm drawn to the cranberry juice for some reason. Do you feel similarly about cranberry juice?
I've never thought about cranberry juice in that regard. My focus right now is on the Eagles-Cardinals game. But no, I don't drink cranberry. I don't drink cranberry juice in hotels. I don't drink it at home. I'm not a cranberry juice guy. It's full of sugar. You don't need that.
Okay, well, I just feel like, for some reason in the hotel. Okay, a weird game for the Eagles. They jump out to a 14-0 lead. They surrender the lead. And really, you like to make sweeping proclamations after a win, as you always like to say, every week is a season. This game was like, it really came down to which team signed the better street free agent kicker this week. And so it's like, we can say the Eagles are 5-0, they're the only undefeated team in the league, or they, if Cameron Dicker had missed his kick and Matt Amendola had made his, we'd be telling a totally different story. It's sort of like the silliness of like our jobs, like pulling out these sweeping conclusions when like two plays could have changed this game. But they are 5-0. They did sign the right kicker. So I don't know. You wrote about Dicker the kicker. Congratulations to the pro personnel department, I guess.
Sure. Now, Dicker's kick was a 23-yarder. Amendola's was a 40-yarder. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Nonetheless, Dicker needed to make the kick, right? There's so many things that could go wrong in a kick. And one misstep changes everything. Something with the operation changes everything. Jalen Hurts kind of ruled the fact that they had to attempt a field goal there. He wanted 7. He didn't want to put it in the Cardinals' hands. Nonetheless, I mean, I don't mean to be cliche here, but they found a way to win the game. And a lot of teams in this league, the Cardinals included, find ways to lose games, right? The Cardinals were driving there. Kyler Murray, who I've spoken highly of, made a foolish play. Right, he spiked the ball, thought they had a first down, and that forces them to attempt the 40-yarder. So the Eagles found ways to win this game. Dallas Goedert had I thought you were reaching for stats. Dallas Goedert had a critical. You want me to hold it while you eat? Okay. Dallas Goedert had a critical third down conversion. Right. The Eagles. I look at Hassan Reddick had a big sack. There were a handful of things that the Eagles did to win this game. This was the worst game that they've played to date. They can play better. They need to play better. If they expect to come back to this stadium in, I think, 18 weeks, they must play better. That said, there's a lot of ways to lose games in this league. The Eagles didn't lose the game. They won the game, and I give them credit. They've won every game a different way. This was the closest. They needed clutch plays at the end. They had one more than the Cardinals did.
Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray? Who you got?
Ooh,
you're signing up to be your quarterback for the next 10 years. Who you got?
Am I inheriting Kyler's contract?
Well, 10 years, you're going to sign a guy.
I'm going to sign John. I mean, based on what I've seen the past 4 weeks or 5 weeks, rather, I'd have to say Jalen. Based on what I've seen in the last 5 years, I'd have to say Kyler, right? The sample size is a little small here. But Kyler's, look, he hasn't won a playoff game yet. He didn't come through in the playoffs last year. What's so funny? Yeah. I didn't know. I did not know what you were doing there. Ultimately, I can't take anything away from Jalen. There were a few plays that,
Answer the question.
like I said, I would probably still say Kyler. There's been a larger sample size with Kyler. Jalen would say, God bless all his haters, right? I'm certainly not hating on Jalen here. I'm so impressed with what Jalen Hurts is doing. I've just seen more from Kyler at this point to go with Kyler Murray. But for the Eagles right now, I would want Jalen Hurts because this group's behind him, the locker room's behind him. And they're winning with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I'm sure it's recency bias. I think I'm taking Jalen Hurts because I mean, has Kyler Murray improved over the course of his career?
Yeah, that's fair.
Exact same guy. And I've seen that improvement from Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is like he's turning me into an intangibles guy, which I am not at my core. But like to see him, I mean, he didn't play a great game. His lowest yards per attempt of the season, his second lowest. They had this weird game plan where it was nothing but short throws to the outside. He had 2 interceptions that were dropped by the Cardinals. You know, that last third down play especially was an ugly one. But like, I don't know, like his force of personality, I think matters. You see Kyler Murray in this game, like throwing his hands up and blaming everybody else for like misfires of his. He missed a wide open Zach Ertz on one play. Like, I don't know what has Kyler Murray ever proven. I think I would take Jalen Hurts because I trust that he, and like we made fun of this line from the Eagles in the offseason that like whatever ceiling he has, he's going to hit it. But like I do sort of trust that, and with Kyler Murray, I don't trust that. I don't know. I think I'm starting to believe that those things matter more than I would have thought a year ago.
I got to say this, Bo. You're not going to like that I say this, okay? I was a little tongue-in-cheek when I said takesman this summer. But you're starting off the A block of the show, if you will, with Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray for the next 10 years. You decide, right? Like that's straight from talk radio. So look, you're fitting in as a takesman right now. You see, if you frame it that way, if you make it a binary choice, it's like if you don't go with Jalen, you're against Jalen, and that's not the case. I'm so impressed with what Jalen's doing. If I had to pick, like there's a larger sample size of Kyler playing at a high level than Jalen playing at a high level.
No, but we're here.
Yeah. It's actually 8:44 here. Yes. It's 8:44 here. But you have a long day ahead of you.
Yeah,
we have a long day behind you.
Started funny, but now I still got to finish this thing.
Well, here, let me ask you. Okay, I'll play the role of host here. What was your biggest positive takeaway, and what was your biggest negative takeaway? So what's the thing you were most impressed with, and the thing you're most concerned about after this game?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to come up with like searing positives because they didn't play very well. I don't think that Cardinals team is very good.
Okay.
They surrendered that 14-0 lead. You could say it was nice to see, that final drive when they have 16 plays and rush 13 of those 16 plays, bleed like 7 minutes plus off the clock and take that 3-point lead. It's nice to see the toughness of guys like Jason Kelce and Landon Dickerson fighting back from injury, coming back into the game. You've got Jack Driscoll, left tackle. But they didn't finish that drive. They should have been able to run the Cardinals more in this game than they did. Dallas Goedert had a great game.
Great game. As they thought he would.
Right. A.J. Brown, 3 targets on the first drive, and then they don't throw him the ball again. And then on defense, they like almost collapsed. They gave up. They would if Amendola hits that field goal, they give up scoring drives on 4 of their last 5 possessions. Kyler Murray's running all over them. They look tired. The pass rush was nowhere to be seen after that Hassan Reddick sack. Like, I'm not impressed by this win. I know that a win is a win, but like that's for the record. It's not for like what they showed in this game. I don't even to even give them some like intangible like winning quality. It's based off a kicker missing a kick. Like,
Well, the Cardinals wouldn't have won the game had that.
Well,
kick
yeah,
gone
maybe.
in,
Yeah, we don't know that, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. My biggest positive takeaway is that it doesn't seem like anybody got seriously injured.
Okay.
My
what's your
biggest
negative?
negative. I guess the offensive game plan. Like, if we thought that that Sirianni and Steichen were going to have all these answers all season, and we've been talking about they can win different ways. I didn't like the way they tried to win this game. Now I'm not a sophisticated enough football mind to tell you right now whether the Cardinals defense was doing anything that really forced them to try to take those quick wide receiver screens to the outside. But why isn't AJ Brown getting the ball?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I just the running game was absent until that final drive. I actually thought Miles Sanders looked really good in this game. So maybe that's the takesman take that you're looking for. I thought he looked, especially in that last drive. Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. What are your number one positive and negatives?
So, look, it's a cliche, but they found a way to win the game, right? That's the positive. And I keep going back to it. There's so many ways to lose a game in this league, right? There's so many things that could have gone wrong or that they could have done that would have swayed the game, and they found a way to win. But as far as what they did, I thought the offensive line played well, especially with a number of with some moving parts there. You had Jack Driscoll at left tackle in the first half there. You had Opeta at left guard. You had Kelsey come off.
The mic in the middle more.
Yes, that's why I was going back and forth before. When you were speaking, I saw her text.
That's her feedback.
Yeah, she's outstanding. I know. When I felt my phone vibrate, I knew it was her. And so I would say that the offensive line play I thought was good. And coming into this game, when I asked about the Cardinals, a name I kept hearing about.
Offensive line play. Most of the game, Jalen Hurts was under pressure.
Well, from the blitzing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a numbers thing there, and the offensive line had some moving parts there. The Cardinals did bring blitzes. I thought the defensive game plan in the second half, they seemed to be so concerned with limiting the big play, and I know that's a staple here, but look, we discussed the numbers this week. The Cardinals entered the game with the lowest explosive play rate in the NFL. And I would have played tighter in coverage. They were very worried about Kyler running. Kyler didn't run until late in the game, right? And he has not run much this year. And it was interesting. I heard on the telecast because I have the earphone in one ear. Okay, flex. They said Jonathan Gannon, when other people were at the swimming pool this summer, was watching Kyler film because he knew this game was on the schedule. It was either Gannon or Sirianni. I think it was Gannon, but for those watching at home, was it Gannon or Sirianni? Let me know. But the point being, I feel like this was a game plan made for the reputation of the Cardinals more so than the way the Cardinals have played this year. If that adds up.
And what were you doing while everyone else was at the pool?
What was I doing this summer? I mean, we had podcasts this summer, so we discussed it then. I was reading books. I was trying to figure out how to get better in some cases. I was writing stories in some cases. I was working on, I was playing with my kids. I was doing a lot of things.
How are you as a swimmer?
I'm not a particularly good swimmer, but I could stay afloat.
But not as good as Nate Herbig.
Want to explain the joke?
Well, yeah, I think the sickos know. Nate Herbig, surprisingly good at floating in water. Yeah.
Well, he's Hawaiian, right? So that would add up. If you're in Hawaii, it's probably part of your birthright to learn how to.
You think that you like babies drop out of Hawaiian women into the water, and that's just they learn to float that way? Is that what you're sort of getting at?
No, but if you grow up around water, you presumably know how to swim. If you grow up around snow, you know how to shovel, right?
But it's not swimming; it's floating.
Okay, so next time I speak to Nate, I will find out that distinction.
Okay, I think that's important. Where were we?
Not on the game. Can we get back to the game? So as I was saying, when I was doing some work on this Cardinals team, the name I kept hearing about was Zach Allen. Okay, what?
The Diamondbacks pitcher?
Not Zach Allen. Zach Allen. Zach Allen. And I was really impressed with him today. I'm gonna watch this game back tomorrow morning. But Zach Allen jumped out to me as someone who made some plays. The other one on the Cardinals is Murphy, the corner. He jumped out, and I know he had that. What was it, the touchdown earlier this season or the fumble recovery? But he was effective on a blitz. I thought he was effective in coverage. I do think that the Eagles need to come out of this game the same way that they came out of Week 1 with Devontae Smith, where like it's a problem we didn't get Devontae Smith the ball enough. They need to get A.J. Brown the ball much more. I know on the stat sheet he was targeted 7 times. It didn't seem like that in the game, and most of those targets were early. And they need to feed A.J. Brown the ball. I think A.J. We used to say this about Alshon, and it's applicable. He's open even when he's covered, and they need to get A.J. the ball. That needs to be a priority, and I think it would have enhanced the offense. You asked after the game about the horizontal. You know, they tried to stretch the Cardinals horizontally as opposed to vertically. Yeah, with a little more 12 and 13, right? Before the Cardinals acquired Zach Ertz, they were known as a team that played 0-1 personnel more than anyone in the league, right? So you didn't really sell that.
I don't want to talk when you have the mic like that.
So all right, so Marissa, what's the correct way of doing this? I have a mic stand, but we don't have.
So I was just texting you guys. We can't hear when Bo does his chime-ins. We can't really hear.
She can't. They can't hear us. We have to be a little bit more. I talk, you talk. I talk, you talk.
Or keep the mic in the middle.
Me interrupting you all the time.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard for you to do.
Yeah.
Just not interrupt me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, what were we talking about?
I was more worried about the audio quality. Yeah,
we're talking about A.J. Brown the ball.
A.J. Brown, that's right. There was something weird with A.J. Brown in this game because he didn't start. I know like starting in football is odd, but like they didn't bring him on the field for like the first like 7 plays of that opening drive. They threw him the ball 3 times. He didn't get another catch. I talked to him like briefly in the locker room afterwards, and he's like, usually a little bit like short. But he, you know, I was at the end of it. I was like, how did you think you played? He's like, well, you know, we won the game. We're blessed. But it was like, I sensed something a little bit off. And so I think you might be right that they need to come out next week against, which we can get to, is going to be a very difficult Cowboys defense. They need to like make him the priority again, I think.
So I didn't chart it the way you did, but it seemed to the naked eye that he was not on the field much in 12 personnel. That from how they opened the game on that drive, which lends me to believe that as a blocker, they might not love, or they might not want him as a block. I don't know, but it seemed 12 personnel was when he wasn't on the field.
Well, he definitely wasn't on the field in 13. They only played like a few snaps of 12 personnel, and that was 5 of them were on the final drive. So they didn't play a ton of 12 personnel. It's 13 when he's not on. It's always been Devontae Smith in 13 personnel, but there were snaps in 11 personnel in that opening drive when it was Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal on the field. It's very weird.
So they played more 12 personnel then. Didn't you say they played 11 of 16 snaps in 12?
On that final drive.
Yeah, on that final.
Yeah, up until then.
Yeah. I was referring to the final drive when AJ wasn't on the field there. And I saw it, and I know they opened, they were in 12 earlier in the game.
But only like 4 snaps.
4 snaps. Okay. But they were in 13, and he's not on the field in 13.
So it was almost like he didn't start the game because of some like college discipline type deal, but obviously that wasn't the case. That would be a pretty weak discipline. But I don't know. There was something. Just my spidey senses were tingling a little bit.
Well, you're a good reporter. Work the room this week. Yeah, find out what happened.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. They got to get AJ Brown the ball. All right. Why don't we why don't we take a little break? Let's compose ourselves, figure out a game plan for how the rest of this podcast is going to go, and maybe, hope that Marissa saves the day or something.
Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. More athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health, but you don't have to be a pro to want to be at the top of your game. Everyone needs to take care of their mental well-being, whether you're an athlete or not. Therapy is the best way to stay in peak mental shape. I know football season is super stressful for my work life and my personal life, and it's so important to get those feelings out to help relieve stress. If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is such a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists anytime if you want. When you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/BWF today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/BWF. Now a word from our sponsor, Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds, anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn how to cook from Gordon Ramsay, improve your basketball skills from Steph Curry, or learn how to sing from John Legend. With over 100 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. The coolest part about Masterclass is you can start or stop classes anytime, any place. So you could be on your phone, on your computer. You can watch a class for 10 minutes and then pick it back up in the afternoon. It's great because there's so many different ways to learn from all these amazing people. I highly recommend you check it out. And you can get unlimited access to every masterclass. And as a Birds with Friends listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. So what you have to do is go to masterclass.com/firstdown. That's masterclass.com/firstdown. for 15% off Masterclass.
All right, back on Birds with Friends. Zach unfortunately jumped out the window. He was too tired of this podcast. He's decided he doesn't want to do it anymore. So he's fine. He's not. He ran away. It's not that kind of joke. I just mean he fled the scene. He's back. We're gonna figure this out. Let me just run through some of the stats for you while we kill some time. Jalen Hurts. 26 of 36 for 239, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 989.9 quarterback rating, and 15 carries for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of quarterback sneaks in this game. Miles Sanders, 15 for 58. Dallas Goedert led the way, 8 for 95. Devontae Smith, 10 for 87. A.J. Brown, just 3 for 32, as we talked about. Quez Watkins, 3 for 19. Miles Sanders, 2 for 6. We can get to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's interception in a little bit. Kyler Murray, 28 of 42 for 250, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. James Conner, 9 carries for 55 yards. Marquise Brown, 8 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown. And we talk about some of the ways in which this game could have very easily gone the other way. One of those was if Marquise Brown had caught a slant in the third quarter, that if he had caught it, knowing his speed, I think might have been a 70-something plus yard touchdown. So something to get to. Your boy, Zach, Isaiah Simmons leading the way with 13 tackles, but I hope you're taking a victory lap off the guy who's like whose weakness is like the basis of the opposing team's game plan.
If your takeaway from this game is Isaiah Simmons is a bad player, then that's a bold way to go here.
Well, it's not my takeaway from this game. It's my takeaway from him being benched and in like year 3 or year 4 still trying to find a position for the guy.
And then put back in, right?
Okay, great. We're trying to save their regime.
I'll take Isaiah Simmons on my team any day.
Okay, well, you're a good team. Your team's going to stink. All right, what do you want to do here?
Well, so here, put back on the video. Okay. How's this?
Oh, I think that's going to be too far away. Marissa?
Is that too far away?
Talk really loud.
Is that too far away?
Yeah, it's too far away.
It's too far away.
Okay.
All right. Well,
that's a good thought.
Good thing we tried. All right.
Can you put it in front of you? Just live podcasting at its
Just
finest.
like this?
Yeah, like that.
Ooh,
Talk, Zach.
Marissa.
That sounds good.
I'm sorry we're putting you through this right now.
That sounds good.
That's good?
Mm-hmm.
Is this really worth it just for the visual of us being in front of it? Like, wouldn't it be better if we were just in our hotel rooms?
I mean, we could readjust.
I mean, not right now, but moving forward, I'm saying I don't know if we need to stay for the visual of just seeing the empty field.
Yeah, but people did like the visual. But you're right. I mean, yeah. We can talk about this after the pod.
No, let's do it all now. Even though Zach can't hear a word you're saying, I think it's great.
Can you summarize what she's saying?
Yeah, she said, crawl back out the window, climb down, Spider-Man. There are seats right here. Okay, it's not a big drop off we're talking about. All right, I want to clarify that earlier joke. It's very easy. He's just he's smart Batman.
I'll take that. So you want to talk about Dicker the kicker?
Let's talk about big Dicker energy.
Okay. So Cameron Dicker. The Eagles needed to sign a kicker earlier this week. As we all know, Jake Elliott gets hurt last Sunday. Cameron Dicker gets a call on Monday morning from his agent about 8 a.m. He had just gotten out of bed, saying he has to go to Philly for a tryout. To give some context here, let's keep it this way so that blue light isn't flashing. The Eagles personnel staff has a list. They have for all positions of options to go with. Nick Sirianni made a point of saying that the Eagles did not go with the conventional experienced option here. You asked the question, and rather went with the players they thought were the best, or the player they thought was the best. They brought two players in for a workout. It was Cameron Dicker and it was Jake Verity. Jake Verity, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Verity, from East Carolina. 2 years, he's been in a few different camps, hasn't kicked in the NFL. Cameron Dicker wins that workout. Okay, the Eagles signed him to the practice squad officially on Wednesday. They made their decision on Tuesday. Dicker works with the other players on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They get the operation down. Saturday morning, and you can read this in a few minutes on The Athletic. Saturday morning, the Eagles have a full team meeting, and Nick Sirianni in that meeting puts in footage from Cameron Dicker's freshman year at Texas, the Red River Showdown. He kicks a game-winning field goal over Oklahoma. And Nick Sirianni did this because he wanted the players to have confidence that Dicker can step up in a big moment. Dicker, of course, said that in this situation during the meeting, he put the horns up, much to the chagrin of, say, Jalen Hurts or Lane Johnson, some of the Sooners in the locker room. Although Jalen Hurts might not agree with being called a Sooner. I think he is more of an Alabama association, if you will. Nonetheless, so that was how Cameron Dicker, and it goes down to a Cameron Dicker kick here. So a little bio of Cameron Dicker. You would think that this is a huge thing for him being in the NFL, right? Didn't grow up a big NFL fan. Cameron Dicker he was born in Hong Kong, raised in his early years in Shanghai, moved to the United States at age 11, and was into soccer. But went out for the football team because in Austin, Texas, you play football, right? And he played offensive line, and he said, "This sucks. I don't want to play offensive line." So because of his soccer background, he went to kick. And by his sophomore, junior year of high school, he was starting to get college scholarships. He said, "This might be something." He said he fell in love with kicking, and he thought then he could be a professional kicker. And that's how he ended up at Texas. That's how he ended up on the NFL's radar. And that's how he ended up kicking right behind us here. This side of the field, he kicked that 23-yard field goal to give the Eagles the 2017 lead.
Very good reporting.
Just that's why I am here. Where did he go on his honeymoon? I don't believe that he's married, Polar Jam. I can find that out, but he didn't. I don't believe that he is married. But he is, he's a worldly young man. He grew up in, as I said, in Asia, and his friends were.
Where are you, honey?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to Shanghai, but across Shanghai off the list. But yeah, his friends there were Premier League fans, and that's how he got into Liverpool. That is his team. So LeBron James owns Liverpool, correct?
Well, not by himself. I do have that was such an unbelievably in-depth breakdown of Cameron Dicker. I'm curious, like for the listener, what are they if they read the story? What are they going to learn that they didn't already know from that?
Well, they're gonna learn quite a bit in the story. That's why you have to read it. My editor is editing it as we speak. It'll hopefully be up online in the next few minutes. You can check that out as well as Bo Wolf's the day after, which I always look forward to Monday morning.
And is it true that Landon Dickerson is Cameron Dicker's son?
I see what you did there. No, that is not true. I saw Chris Long tweeted out that he wishes he could have played with this Eagles kicker.
I did see that.
Yes. But no, and you know what's interesting though, in all seriousness, this is going to change Cameron Dicker's career. I talked to Rick Lovato about that after the game, and Rick Lovato was adamant that these guys, once they get film, once they show you can do it, that opens the doors. He said it happened to him actually at this very stadium. I believe it was 2015 with the Green Bay Packers. That was the first time he snapped. And after that, he had film, and he said he's going to be back in the NFL. I think about Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott stepped in for Caleb Sturgis in week 2 of the 2017 season. Had a rough first game. The second game, we all remember, kicks that 61-yarder. He's been a fixture with the Eagles ever since.
Tell your Elliott story from FIP.
So Bo was referencing, or I'm sorry, Bo asked the question about stacking the board with available kickers, and Nick Sirianni, like we said they didn't go with the experienced one. They went with someone that they thought was the best for the workout. With Jake Elliott back in 2017, the Eagles took a little bit of a risk because they couldn't work Jake Elliott out. Jake Elliott at that time was on the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. The difference there is Caleb Sturgis was on injured reserve. So the Eagles were committing to someone. If they signed him off the practice squad, they were committing to someone for at least a few weeks, right? Sturgis was going to miss extended time. In this case, Jake Elliott's presumably going to be back next week, or at least, shortly thereafter. The Eagles did not put him on IR. So they're not looking for like a longer-term replacement. But the Eagles were going with a risk when they brought in Elliott because they actually had not seen him work out. I think they were underwhelmed with the options that they had working out for them that year. And they were intrigued by Elliott's college film and talking to him at the combine. But that was a little bit of a leap of faith. And like I said, if you recall the Kansas City game that year, week 2, it did not go particularly well.
I feel like this has got to be the most kicker talk we've ever had on a post-game pod, but I respect it.
It's where so you did say it was essentially like a tale of two kickers. I did not use that in my story, but you kind of brought it down to the Chiefs kicker. I'm sorry, not the Chiefs kicker. Freudian slip there because he used to kick for the Chiefs, Matt Amendola.
Danny's brother.
So this is what's interesting, and this line is actually in the story. Cameron Dicker said, he was asked about the big stage of this game, and he's like, I've kicked in bigger games before, which like Eagles fans would be like, what? Kicked in bigger games before? As if like the Texas-Oklahoma game is bigger than this. If you grow up in Austin, you probably think the Texas-Oklahoma game is bigger than this. But the reason I bring this up is Amendola on the Cardinals sideline, who missed that 40-yarder. He's from the Philadelphia area. He went to North Penn High School. It's funny. There was an Eagles official who asked me after the game if I know of the other kicker in the NFL from North Penn. And I'm like, come on, that's like a $100 question in Jeopardy, right? It's Brendan McManus, who we all know. Amendola broke his records at North Penn. Then he went to Oklahoma State.
As we all know. Oh yeah, okay. The kicker talk continues. But yeah, I mean, I that was what I was saying before. Is that like to me, this game was a victory for like the Eagles organization, like their process in the pro personnel department, led by Howie Roseman and Max Gruder, who's in charge of that, is like they signed the better kicker than the other team did. And also their stadium operations team would not have put up the wrong first down marker at the end of the game, which we can get to.
Just one more Dicker note here. Okay. He is affectionately known as Dicker the Kicker. And you might be wondering how he got that nickname, right? Well, you'd be interested to know that Mr. Gonzalez.
What are you talking about? I don't even know what's going on.
I need you to stop laughing. His middle school science teacher, Mr. All right, we'll delete this post-production.
As we all know, Mr. Gonzalez is sixth grade science teacher.
7th grade. Please. Okay, all right. Sorry, we are pros. His 7th grade science teacher gave him the nickname Dicker the Kicker. That's when he started kicking in 7th grade.
I'm surprised he wasn't an English teacher with such an interesting nickname. What a stretch that must have been for him.
All right. Compose yourself, please. So that's the background to the nickname. You can read all about this on The Athletic in a few hours. Anyways, getting back to this game, something else that you just referenced. I think this was a pivotal play in the game. And that was so Kyler Murray runs and he slides and he thought he slid for the first down. The I don't even say the clock operator. What'd you call it? The screen operator marked it first down. But I don't even know if Kyler looked at the scoreboard because I think he thought he got the first down, rushed. They spiked the ball. They had no timeouts at that point. And he thought that it was going to be – he thought he spiked the ball on 1st and 10, and they would have 2nd and 10 with 20 seconds or thereabouts on the clock. Instead, he spiked it on 3rd and 1, so it became 4th and 1. So they had to send the field goal unit onto the field. Nick Sirianni said after the game that they knew all along it was 3rd and 1 from the from the field markers, right? But that was huge because the Cardinals were moving the ball. Kyler Murray just started to run then, right? Like he hadn't been running earlier in the game. I thought they were going to drive at least into legitimate touchdown range, and they had to kick the field goal. 40-yarder Amendola should make that, but nonetheless, I mean that's not a chip shot. I looked it up, and if my numbers were correct, the 23-yarder that hasn't been missed since the 2017 season. I actually think it was the Cowboys-Eagles game in Week 17 that year was the last time a 23-yarder was missed in a game. But otherwise, by the Eagles by the Cowboys. By any team. But that was a chip shot. The 40-yarder wasn't. Kyler Murray could have brought them closer to the end zone.
Well, this goes to my takesman point on Kyler Murray because this was what year is this for him? 5?
Yes.
This is easy stuff for a quarterback. One, he starts his slide too early before the first down marker. 4.
Is it year 4? He just signed the extension, so it was available after his 3rd season.
Okay, so whatever it is, 4 or 5. He starts the slide too early. You should know the slide rules, and not that he necessarily shouldn't have slid, but if he was going to slide, he should know what the rules are. And 2, I'm sorry, all you got to do is look to the sideline and see where the markers are. They hadn't moved. This is easy stuff for a veteran quarterback. And so I watch him. Yeah, the tools are tantalizing, but I mean they lost this game in large part because of his not doing his homework and spending too much time playing Xbox, right?
No, that's not why he did it. I mean, in the heat of the moment, there's a lot that occurs, but no, he needs to be more aware. That was a pivotal moment in the game, and I think it might have helped the Eagles win the game.
Well, put the slide rules and how the first down markers work on his next homework assignment.
Fair enough. If we can rewind one drive, what did you think of the Eagles' third down? What did you think of the Eagles' third down play? Now I thought the Eagles were lucky it wasn't intercepted. I know some people watching at home thought that Quez Watkins should have made the catch. What did you think?
Yeah. there was a weird play because A.J. Brown is running into the exact same area. I thought the play was designed for A.J. Brown coming across the field, but then Quez Watkins was right there. Now, there were people who were saying that on the broadcast before that play, Shane Steichen was seen saying something like trust me about the over the radio call. And like there's a part, Jalen Hurts said after the game he had mixed emotions, and Tim McManus asked him what he meant by that. And he took like a long pause before he started. And this is just 100% speculation. I was wondering if part of it was he wished that they had called a different play on that third down, because he's focusing on, we didn't score the touchdown there. Like I don't like watching the game decided by something that's not up to me. I touch the ball in every offensive play. I want to be in control of how the game ends. He had to watch as the opposing kicker, missed his field goal. But like, I don't know. It wasn't. It didn't turn out to be a great play call, obviously. But design wise, I'm curious to relook on the all 22, because there were two guys right in the exact same area. Like he hit Quez Watkins sort of in the hands. I thought it could have been intercepted too, but it was right over AJ Brown. So I don't know what the design there was.
Yeah, I thought that was a rough play for the Eagles in an important situation, because I agree with Hurts. You're on the 5-yard line. You want 7, not 3. And I do think the Eagles seemed a little too consumed with like wearing time off the clock there on that drive.
Totally agree.
Like score the points, right? Score the points and play defense. So I thought most of the drive was good. I thought as they got a little closer there, just get in the end zone.
Exactly right. Once it was 1st and goal from the 10 at the 2-minute warning, it's time to stop worrying about the clock and go get it, because the Cardinals had 3 timeouts left. So there's no scenario, unless you're talking about like multiple defensive penalties, in which you're going to get to an opportunity to kick a field goal or score a touchdown with 20 seconds left or something like that. And so they run twice on 1st and 10, and then 2nd and 8 from the 8, and they get to the 5. And I thought those were sort of wasted plays. I thought to only give themselves one real chance to actually get in the end zone, I thought that was a little bit too conservative. I would have liked to see a different sequence of plays there.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Yeah, bad job. But all right, they won the game. So whatever that intangible winning is.
Well, I mean, winning matters, right? It is a cliche to say, but it is so true, right? And you go on at the end of the season and you look at the amount of wins you have, you look at the amount of losses you have, and they're not all going to be blowouts, right? And you have to win different ways. You have to win ugly, and I truly mean that. They found a way to win tonight, or today rather, and the Cardinals found a way to lose. And there are enough teams in this league who find ways to lose. Finding ways to win is extremely important, and that's where I give them credit. They can play better, but it's what was it, the Detroit game where they kept saying that it's easy to it's you like knowing after a win that there's another gear you can go into.
Yeah, I just think it would have taken one thing at the end. Like if Kyler Murray knows what the deal is, and they don't get a first down. Let's say they sneak it and then spike the ball. They've got the ball at like the 20 with, 16 seconds left. They can score a touchdown. Like, does that really change whatever the personality of the team is?
No, you know what? No, you're right. But it helps them stay undefeated. And look, we rip on this division quite a bit. I was watching that game this morning. The Giants beat a good team. Giants are 4-1 right now. Okay. The Cowboys, ever since, in week 1, it's like, oh, this Cowboys team, they've won 4 in a row. That defense is lights out. That's gonna be a tough game next Sunday. They're 4-1, right? This division has a 5-0 team and 2 4-1 teams. So yeah, the Eagles very much, you want to keep pace or you want to stay ahead. You want to set the pace. So finding a way to win was critical today.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree that winning was important.
Okay.
I just, the way that this game was played, it was not like they were the team that knew how to win. I feel like it just a flip of the coin. All right, let's take our last break and come back. Talk Swooper. Whatever Zach's takeaways from being in Phoenix are. If he wants to triple down on his defensive Chip Kelly, we can get to all that.
Imagine having one extra day every week, more time to cook healthy meals, work on that novel, or just binge some good reality TV. Now, I probably wouldn't binge some good reality TV, and the novel for me would probably be nonfiction, but I would watch more football, I would listen to more podcasts, I'd read more books. You get the point. Well, now it's all possible with ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you one day a week on work, guaranteed. ClickUp began with the premise that productivity was broken. There were too many tools to keep track of, too many things in entirely separate ecosystems. There had to be a more productive way to get through the daily hustle. ClickUp is the one tool to house all your tasks, projects, docs, goals, spreadsheets, and more. ClickUp is built for teams from 1 to 1,000 plus. It's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can work the way you work best. Whether you're in project management, engineering, sales, marketing, or HR, ClickUp has easy-to-use solutions that create a more efficient work environment. Join the more than 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today. Use code BIRDS to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com and use code BIRDS. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Now, our next partner is a pretty cool product. Let's talk about Athletic Greens. If you're looking to get better gut health, more energy, or stronger immune system in a really easy, natural way, you've got to check out Athletic Greens. I'm sure you'll all agree that most of us are not huge fans of having to take a bunch of pills or vitamins in the morning, but with Athletic Greens, you can get rid of all those extra vitamin bottles and finally make some room in your cabinet. Athletic Greens is an all-in-one solution, and you'll really enjoy getting your daily vitamins. I've tried it. I heard about it this summer. My sister and my sister's boyfriend said, you have to try this, and so I did. And I'm wondering, what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all of these. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. It supports better sleep quality and recovery, and supports mental clarity and alertness. It's the one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product types and third-party testing. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into flu and cold season. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/birds. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/birds to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right. Welcome back to Birds with Friends, Wulf, Zach Berman. Zach, you can see behind you and this is really why we set up the shot, because this is the stuff that you can only get by being here. A shot of the Cardinals Ring of Honor. I thought a very pathetic Ring of Honor they've got. Carson Palmer is in the Ring of Honor, had like 2 full good seasons, like nothing really to write home about. He gets a Ring of Honor spot. The Bidwells get on. How weak is that to put yourselves on the Ring of Honor? How roasted would Jeffrey Lurie be if he put himself in the Ring of Honor?
Well, perhaps it was a fan vote. I don't know the specifics. Fans are probably ecstatic that he brought them, that the Bidwell family brought them out to Arizona, right? They didn't have a pro team, and the Cardinals moved. They were founded, I saw it behind us, in 1898, I think it was, or actually, that doesn't sound right. It says right there, established 1898. Yeah, right there. You see that? Established 1898. There wasn't an NFL in 1898. So
Maybe they mean this building.
it definitely was not this building. Okay. Yesterday I was at the building where they used to play, Sun Devil Stadium. But no, I'm curious what the 1898 was. If any of our listeners know, I can't see the comments when we do this chat, but I will check tomorrow morning.
How was that game you went to yesterday?
It's okay. That was an exciting game, but yeah, the atmosphere left a little bit to be desired. Look, Arizona State's in a tough spot right now. They fired their coach. From my understanding, it was fall break. So I was hoping for a big-time college football atmosphere, and it didn't feel like that. But look, Arizona State, I think it's like a sleeping giant. I know it's been said before, but great campus, great recruiting base, the desirable place to play. So I think that you get the right coach here, they can get it humming.
And I do think we owe it, yes, as Marissa hints, how is the student union? We do owe it to the listeners to know that, to let them know that you are staying basically on campus.
I'm staying at a hotel in Tempe, which happens to be Arizona State's campus. It also happens to be like a nice town that's walkable. I didn't rent a car on this trip, number one. It's near the airport, number two. It's
near the student union, number 3.
I didn't go to the student union yesterday. There were enough good food options elsewhere. So, but I did walk around campus. Great campus, beautiful campus.
And what prompted you to tweet and then delete your tweets about Chip Kelly?
So I said that he's better at NFL free agency. I'm sorry, he's better at college free agency than NFL free agency because the number that I saw was, excuse me, 22 transfers in the past 3 seasons. I did not fact check that though, so I didn't want to put that out there unless I knew that to be the case. And
you said also coaching was never a problem, and you referenced his record in 3 years with the Eagles, but you neglected to mention that he then went 2-14 the following year with the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, in my time covering Chip Kelly, I thought, look, there were major problems. I mean, we don't need to relitigate it, but there were also a lot of good things there. They had 2 10-win seasons. He hired a coaching staff that included Jeff Stoutland.
It's getting very loud in here as they put away a portion of the stands.
We really don't need to relitigate the Chip Kelly era, but I think Chip Kelly had some redeeming qualities as a coach, and I know that because some of his fingerprints were on the team that won the Super Bowl.
Nelson Aguilar?
I mean, Malcolm Jenkins, right? Look, we don't need to go down this. Jeff Stoutland, you know
what? Jeff Stoutland's a good one.
Yeah.
Jeff Stoutland's a good one. Oh wow, he's about to go in the middle of defending Chip Kelly. He's gonna go anti Jeff Stoutland. This is quite a take from the takesman himself.
Definitely not anti Jeff Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland's outstanding, and I say that having seen. I just saw a game where Jack Driscoll started at left tackle and Sulu Opeta played at left guard. And Cam Jurgens was in there at center. They were down to Josh Sills as their only reserve. That's a credit to Jeff Stoutland.
Josh Sills or David Sills?
Not David Sills. I keep saying David Sills.
I do too.
David Sills, who I wrote about a few years ago. He's also from the Philadelphia area. He's from Bear, Delaware. And he got into football at a Dahani Jones football camp, actually. That was kind of his first brush with wanting to do it. That was before USC offered him the scholarship on Good Morning America.
Some other charting notes from this game. Defensively, the Eagles very heavy in their 5-1-5 personnel in this game. Not a ton of Kaiser White because they didn't play a ton of nickel until the very end of the game. Well, that's not true. On third downs, they would play nickel, but this was much more heavily weighted towards that 5-1-5 that they were using. A few snaps of dime, not really a lot of otherwise base. Zach again is leaving. He decided, hold on, he's getting a call from Mr. Gonzalez. He's got to type this up quickly to get it back into the story before it publishes. And then on offense, like I said, heavy 11 personnel, but they did have a couple drives that went heavy 13 and then 12. Now, I do think, like, just as we make the case, or I make the case that, like, this game very easily could have been a loss, there were some other little things that went against the Eagles' way, like some of the holding calls on Suo-Opeta and Landon Dickerson that stopped them in the red zone seemed a little bit ticky-tack. There were, that's the case in any football game. There are things that could have gone either way.
Yeah, well said.
All right, well, what couldn't have gone either way was this Swooper scorecasting. 3 points on the line as I pull it up. Zach, you had Zach Ertz has 100 or more receiving yards, much to the chagrin of that guy who asked him during his press conference last week. That did not happen. Kyler Murray outrushes Miles Sanders. You know what, Zach? If Kyler Murray doesn't spike the ball there's a chance that he's able to overcome. He finishes with 42, Miles Sanders 58. He might have gotten there if he just knew what he was doing as a veteran quarterback. Miles Sanders has 100 or more rushing yards. It didn't happen, but you did have the black pants, and you knew you were coming into the game with the black pants. So you were the leader in the clubhouse here, but you finished with just one. Marissa, the Cardinals defense records 0 sacks. Didn't happen. The Eagles have an NFC Player of the Week. I think it's possible that Cameron Dicker could get the Special Teams Player of the Week. That wouldn't be crazy. I mean, he didn't do that in anything that special, but still. The Phillies score more runs combined in the games they play against the Cardinals than the Cardinals score against the Eagles. Unfortunately, didn't happen. Maybe if the Phillies had gotten to a third game, they would have been able to score more than 17 runs, but unlucky for them, they did not. And then the Eagles outscore the Cardinals in the second quarter by more points than the number of turkeys for which this item sells. That was 7. The Eagles were outscored by the Cardinals 10-7 in the second quarter. So not good for Marissa, but good for me because I had the Eagles are outscored in the second quarter. So that's 1. I had the Cardinals do not score a field goal. Didn't happen. Greg Dortch either scores a touchdown or leads the Cardinals in receiving yards. Didn't happen. And the official yard lines at the end of the first and third quarters are either both odd or both even. And that did happen. Your boy takes the lead 5-0. A 3-point win for me. Zach, how would you like to congratulate me?
How would I like to what?
Congratulate me.
Congratulations on winning a game that I believe I won the season total last year. I think Marissa's doing the best of the three of us this year. If we didn't have the skins game format, it would be much different. And the story of the first 5 weeks will be Marissa's bidding strategy and what she's brought to the table here.
Zach, I have no points. Don't give me any
because
credit.
of the skins game format that you so you won 2 weeks out, right? Correct. And then we tied the other 3 weeks. Who tied? All of us? Or I know Marissa's been involved in every tie.
Everybody knows the rules. We're all playing by the same rules.
Let's just correct this here.
Don't talk down to Marissa by saying that she's playing the best, even though she's tied for last place with you. You said I'm playing the best. I'm winning.
You said everybody knows the rules. You literally created this rule before the season started.
Everybody knows what the rules are.
But it's not as if there was a competition committee that brought this. I mean, you just showed up on the first day of Swooper this year and said these are going to be the rules. It would be akin to a professor coming in the first day of class and saying, an A is no longer classified by this; it's now classified by that, right?
No.
Yes. I mean,
listen, you say I'm 5-0. I don't want to talk about 5-0. To me, it's all about doing what I can control this week. We still left a lot of points on the board there, and I've got mixed emotions about this, is what I would say.
Okay, Jalen. It is a long season, though, and
it's a long season, and it's going to go into the playoffs probably. So we have time, Zach.
I don't want to speak over Marissa.
It says it's going into the playoffs.
Okay.
So we have time.
More than a 17-game season, it might be more than that.
Okay. So yeah, so we and perhaps the Super Bowl is worth extra, right? It's
Yeah,
like
we can make up the rules.
Yeah,
She says you can make up rules too.
I can't actually. I barely know the rules that we operate with at the moment, right? So
Okay.
wait, there is one thing from that we should bring up. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here. In the locker room, and by the way, I don't think this is a controversial take or controversial opinion, but I did put this out on Twitter, and the feedback has been not at all what I expected. The best quarterback in franchise history was in the Eagles locker room today, and that's Donovan McNabb.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Nick Foles.
So people really took umbrage to that characterization. I don't think it's controversial. Donovan McNabb is the best quarterback in franchise history. And so you might not like that he said 5 will always love you, but 5 was in the locker room today, and he spoke to Jalen Hurts. They had an embrace in the middle of the locker room. Then they went to a side room where they could talk away from kind of reporters taking photos of the two of them talking, which I respect, because it's hard to have a substantive conversation when people are.
Yeah, second week in a row in which Tim McManus has taken a video with basically me as the focal point.
Well, he knew you on today, so
That must be it.
5 will always love you.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's Jalen has talked about it. He's talked about this before. I think he does feel a kinship with the lineage of black quarterbacks the Eagles have had. We've talked about this before, and so yeah, I mean, there's only a handful of guys in the world who know what that very specific pressure is like, and we know that Donovan lives out here, so it makes sense that the two of them got to hang for a little bit, and also I think Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham talked to him as well,
And Nick Sirianni.
and Nick Sirianni.
Some other former Eagles were in the house. John Dornbos, who I saw you chatting with.
I mean, I said hi.
And he said hi back. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd call that a chat.
And I heard an Eagles official say to Nick that there's a lot of visitors here today. So unfortunately, one of Nick's good friends who lives out here was not here. He was in Buffalo. And it was Nick brought it up in the press conference today.
So I got to give a shout out to my buddy Josh Rigabaga. Like, he's back home in Buffalo this weekend, but otherwise he would have been here. So
what else? So Nick Sirianni came to the press conference in a Philly shirt. He said, man, this is a great time to be a Philly sports fan. And I bet our audience could speak affirmatively about that. It is, right? I mean, I was out to dinner with a friend last night and I was watching that Phillies game. We got legitimate postseason baseball going on here. Big series coming up. Nick Sirianni's hoping to score a ticket. I imagine Sirianni knows somebody who knows somebody, right? So there's that. The Sixers are heating up. Got some fantasy basketball auctions, an auction and a draft this week. He had to add in the Flyers. I mean, look, the Flyers might have a tough year. Charlie O'Connor, make sure you read his coverage because it's outstanding. But I wouldn't have high hopes for this Flyers team.
I mean, I'm just here to
okay. But you were laughing at me about the trade that the Phillies made, and well, I don't think Noah Syndergaard's the reason why they're here. But look, the Phillies got this rolling. It's gonna be a fun.
Syndergaard trade. It was a much lesser trade.
Which trade was it?
Some jabron that they got.
Well, it takes the whole team, as Jason Kelsey says.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Shout out to Austin Flynn for the Phillies. We care about the fans. All right. Anything else we got to talk about, Zach, before we move on forward to a big week, Dallas week, coming up Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, so we should just recap real quick. We mentioned Kelsey went out, he came back in. Dickerson went out, came back in.
Kelsey said he had a low ankle sprain. Doesn't know the severity yet.
He tends to tough these things out. They really didn't have anyone else who missed, who left and did not return. It's worth noting that, like we said, Jake Elliott didn't play. Avonte Maddox didn't play today. And then, of course, Jordan Mailata didn't play today. Since we last spoke, because we had the Wednesday pod. Jordan Mailata in the locker room on Thursday said that he felt fortunate, that the team felt fortunate that they dodged a bullet here, right? That they thought it could have been worse when Jordan was in the locker room. I'm sorry, when he was at the table with the doctor, the first thing he said is, how many weeks am I going to miss? And the doctor said, you might not miss any. Now, he did miss one here. The issue is the range of motion, but he considered himself day-to-day. He did not practice last week, but this is not I think they feared it being a much more serious injury. He had to pop his shoulder back in place. And so we'll pay attention to that. I was curious, and shout out to Marissa, who was part of the team that produced the Luck podcast. Zach Kiefer did an outstanding podcast on Andrew Luck. And one thing that really jumped to my mind when listening to that podcast was the coaches that had to talk to him about what he did after he threw an interception, right? He always wanted to do he always wanted to be the one tackling, sometimes to the chagrin of the coaches, right? And last week it was noteworthy that Jordan Mailata got hurt on a tackle, and A.J. Brown came under criticism in some circles for his attempt there. And Nick Sirianni says that he very specifically coaches this, and he's been kicking himself for the form that Jordan Mailata used on the tackle. So just something to pay attention to in interception situations. And otherwise, I'm curious to see what the injury report looks like when they come back. Andre Dillard's also someone to pay attention to. He returned to practice last week, was not activated for today, but he could be in line to return this week.
And obviously against a Cowboys pass rush that is among the best in the league, if not the best in the league. So that will be the storyline and the matchup to watch as we move forward this week. All right. So that'll do it for this post-game edition of Birds with Friends. The Eagles get the win 20-17. They remain the only undefeated team in the league, and look forward to next week's game in prime time against the Dallas Cowboys before the bye. So that'll do it. We will be back this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, for Zach and Marissa. And of course, Mr. Gonzalez. I'm Bo. We thank you for listening. We'll talk to you later. And as always, only now you laugh at Mr. Gonzalez? Like 5 seconds later, are you on delay?
I respect Mr. Gonzalez. I just thought it was funny that you brought it up now.
Okay. For all of us, we thank you for listening. And as always, we love you.